Ever notice how telling someone they're wrong almost never makes them say, "Wow, thanks, you're totally right"? Yeah, it usually just makes them dig in harder. Today, I'm going to show you why criticizing people doesn't work, and what to do instead if you actually want to change minds, build trust, and influence people. This one insight flipped my approach to people completely, and it all starts with something we're all guilty of: criticizing, condemning, and complaining. Let's break it down. This idea comes straight from Dale Carnegie's classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it kicks off right in chapter 1. Carnegie doesn't waste time. He starts with a truth most people never want to admit. Criticizing others doesn't make them better. It makes them defensive. It makes them bitter. And sometimes, it makes them your enemy. Let's prove it. In 1931, two-gun Crowley, a cold-blooded murderer, was caught in a massive police shootout in New York. After killing a cop in cold blood, he wrote a note. Not an apology, not a confession. He wrote, "Under my coat is a weary heart, but a kind one that would do nobody any harm." Think about that. He killed someone, yet still saw himself as the victim. That's human nature. Even when we do wrong, we justify it in our own heads. We almost never blame ourselves. So why would someone change because you told them that they were wrong? That's why criticizing people usually backfires. We think we're helping, but all we're really doing is putting them on defense. Abraham Lincoln learned that the hard way. When he was young, Lincoln mocked and criticized people publicly. One day, he wrote a scathing letter about a political opponent and had it published in the newspaper. That man was so humiliated, he challenged Lincoln to a duel. It got that serious. Lincoln realized then, calling people out doesn't win you influence. It makes enemies. From that moment on, he stopped publicly attacking people. Later in life, he was known for being a kind, patient, and incredibly persuasive person without putting people down. Now fast forward to your own life. Ever been told you're wrong in front of other people? How'd it feel? Did you say, "Wow, thank you so much for pointing that out. I love being corrected in public"? Probably not. Most of us shut down, or worse, we fire back. That's the wall criticism builds. Even psychology backs this up. B.F. Skinner, a world-famous psychologist, ran a series of experiments showing that animals and people don't learn when they're punished. They learn faster when they're rewarded. Catch someone doing something right, and they'll do it again. Catch them doing something wrong, and they'll hide it or defend it. If you're finding this breakdown valuable so far, take a quick second to hit that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who need this information. It lets me know if you want more strategic content. So here's the deal. If you want to change behavior, stop leading with blame. Start with empathy. People don't want to be judged. They want to be understood. Let's take this into a real-world setting. Imagine you're a manager. One of your team members keeps showing up late every day. You're fed up. You want to explode and say, "You're lazy and unprofessional. Fix it." But hold up. What if you said instead, "Okay, I noticed that you've been running a bit late lately. Is everything okay?" Boom. You've gone from blame to concern, from judgment to curiosity. You've kept the door open for a real conversation instead of slamming it shut with shame. Now here's the problem. We're wired to criticize. It's a reflex. Someone cuts you off in traffic? Idiot. Someone says something dumb in a meeting? Moron. Someone messes up your coffee order? Ugh. How hard is it? But what we rarely think about is this. We mess up too, all the time. But when we mess up, it's because we're tired, or stressed, or misunderstood, right? We judge others by their actions, but we judge ourselves by our intentions. And that's a double standard, and it creates a world where no one gets better, just more bitter. Dale Carnegie writes, "Any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do. But it takes character and self-control to be understanding." Here's another example. Charles Schwab, one of the richest men of his time and a steel industry giant, once said he paid his executives more for their ability to handle people than for any other skill. And Schwab never criticized his workers. He said, "I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm among my people greatest asset I possess, And the way to develop the best that is in a person is by appreciation and encouragement. This guy ran massive companies without chewing people out, and it still got top performance. When someone makes a mistake, try this. Instead of saying, "You screwed up," say, "I think there might be a better way we can approach this." It's subtle, but it shifts the tone. It makes you a teammate, not a tyrant. Let's explore the challenge here. Because let's be honest, this is hard. It's so much easier to criticize someone than to try and understand them. It feels good in the moment. It feels like justice, like power. But what it really is poison. Slow, relationship-killing poison. Think of relationships you've seen crash and burn. How many of them started with one person constantly pointing out the other's flaws, nagging, complaining, criticizing? Those things don't make people better. They make them resentful. We do this with our partners, our friends, our kids. We think that if we point out what's wrong often enough, they'll finally fix it. But people aren't machines. They're not inputs and outputs. They're emotional. They need to feel seen, valued, and heard. Even in marriage, psychologist John Gottman found that one of the top predictors of divorce is contempt. And that includes constant criticism. Once someone feels like they're never good enough, they check out. They stop listening, or they start fighting back. So what's the fix? Start looking for what people are doing right instead of what they're doing wrong. And when something does need to be addressed, wrap it in empathy. Try asking questions instead of making accusations. Like, "Hey, can you walk me through how this happened? Is there anything that made this more difficult than expected? Want to brainstorm a better approach together?" These kinds of questions keep the conversation alive. They build trust. They show respect. And when people feel respected, they're way more likely to actually change. Let's get to the climax, the turning point. You ready? The real secret is this. People don't want to be managed. They want to be led. And you don't lead with criticism. You lead with connection. Think of the last time someone made you feel important. Maybe they complimented your work. Maybe they asked your opinion. Maybe they thanked you for something small. How did that make you feel? Motivated? Loyal? Like you wanted to do more? That's what influence really is. Not power, not control, but connection. That's the kind of leader Carnegie teaches us to be. Not a critic, but a coach. Not a judge, but a guide. So the next time you're ready to snap at someone, just stop. Ask yourself, will this make them better? Or just make me feel better? Criticizing someone might feel good for about 10 seconds, but helping someone improve without tearing them down, that lasts way longer. Let's wrap this up. If you want better relationships, more respect, stronger teams, and real influence, stop criticizing, condemning, or complaining. Instead, be curious, not combative. Lead with questions, not accusations. Praise the good, gently guide the bad. And remember, every person you meet is fighting a battle that you can't see. Dale Carnegie said it best. God himself does not propose to judge man until the end of his days. Why should you and I? Want to build real influence? Start by giving people the one thing that they rarely get: understanding. Let's quickly tackle some questions you might be thinking about right now. Question 1. But what if someone deserves to be criticized? Isn't it wrong to let bad behavior slide? I think this is a great question. Not criticizing doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It means you address the issue in a way that actually works. Instead of saying, "You're lazy," you say, "I've noticed deadlines are being missed. What's going on?" You're still calling attention to the problem, but in a way that opens a door instead of slamming one shut. Question 2. How do I deal with people who always complain or criticize me? Lead by example. When they complain, don't mirror it. Redirect it. Ask, what would make it better? Or, what do you think is the real issue? If they criticize you unfairly, stay calm. Don't take the bait. Show them there's a better way to handle frustration. Question 3. Isn't positive feedback just sugarcoating? What if the person doesn't take me seriously? Not at all. Being kind and being honest aren't opposites. You can be direct and respectful. In fact, people are more likely to hear you when they don't feel attacked. It's not about sugarcoating. It's about making your feedback land in a way that sticks. Question 4. How do I stop myself from criticizing when it feels automatic? Awareness is step 1. Catch yourself mid-thought. Instead of saying what you feel like saying, pause and ask, is this helpful or just hurtful? Replace blame with curiosity. It's a habit, and like any habit, it gets easier with practice. Question 5. Does this apply to parenting too? Kids need discipline, right? Definitely. Discipline matters, but criticism isn't the same as guidance. Kids respond better to encouragement and clear expectations than to constant judgment. Instead of, you're being bad, say, that's not okay behavior. Let's talk about what to do instead. It teaches them how to grow, not just that they messed up. My name is Stephen Kofer. Thanks for stopping by. This channel is for anyone ready to take ownership of their future. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need the willingness to start. And I'm here to walk with you every step of the way. Now, hit that next video on your screen. It's going to level you up even more.